How's it going, folks? Hope everyone is doing well, and everyone's managing in this topsy-turvy world. I wasn't sure what my next video was going to be, but about a week and a half ago, I got a series of albums, 3 albums, that I've been enjoying so much. I thought, yeah, I should come on and show those and talk about them. And then I decided to make this like a somewhat of a recent finds video. So some of the things I've gotten this year that are of most interest to me. But the first thing I'd like to talk about is this record that's playing right now. It's not a recent find. There was I guess it was technically a contest video, which kind of turned into a thread for people to show 10 albums that likely no one else has in the vinyl community. And I thought about doing it. I was considering certain picks here, but I ended up scrapping the idea. But I want to show one record to genuinely ask if anybody has this, knows about it, sees it in the bins, it might look familiar. It's this record. Les Deux Amis plays Focus Classics. And I got this album in high school sometime. I want to guess 1986. And during that time, I discovered Focus, and they instantly became a favorite. And they still are today. They're one of the few bands from that at my youth that I still dig and can listen to. And so, along with my great friend Jim, who we've been on this musical record journey together for 37 years, we were both into Focus. And when I got this album, I remember either he came over or I went over to his pad and showed him this. And both of us, I mean, we were blown away that there was even anything like this. It's 2 classical guitarists playing Focus classics, Focus songs. And since then, we've both been on the lookout for it. I've said if I ever come across it, I'll get a copy for him. He's been on the search for it. And you know, they were talking 36 years now. Neither one of us, in all our travels, hundreds of record shops all over, neither one of us has seen this. And so I know it can be ordered, but at this point, I think it's risen to the level like, look, we just want to find it. One of us wants to find it somewhere and pick it up and purchase it. So yeah, I'm just curious. Why is it so elusive? And does anyone have this, or does it look familiar? And the thing is, it's on a major label. It's EMI, released in 1985. And as far as I could tell, yeah, EMI America. It's not an import. So, if my memory is correct, I'm pretty sure I found this at the store I was at in the Focus section. I always look through the Focus section if there is one. I look through miscellaneous L's. If shops have a classical guitar section, I'm looking through there. I've never come across this. So, just wondering, does anyone have this? I wouldn't be surprised if Christopher Kibler has this. I'm wondering if Calico Silver, if he watches these videos, if he ever had this. I'm not even sure if it's come out on CD. 85, it might have come out on CD. So yeah, Les Deux Amis plays Focus Classics. That's what's playing in the background. And the records that it's not very often I get really excited about music that I get. I mean, I guess I don't get excited as often as I used to, just because of age, and the more records you get, the more selective you are. But I got these 3 compilations all at once. I've known about them. They were on Dusty Groove. I was on there about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and something clicked, and I just decided, yeah, I'm getting all 3 of these. And they're these soul compilations. Everybody's talking about the good old days, Shaolin Soul. And this is volume 1, or episode 1, they call it. And I mean, these are, as far as compilations go, beautifully put together. The song selections are just fine. And this whole series are mostly 70s songs that inspired Wu-Tang Clan. And they sample, I think this is all stuff they've sampled, or individually, their individual projects they've sampled. And a lot of these are kind of rare, some common stuff, some more rare, obscure things. But man, there's a track listing on that. I'm not going to go through all of these songs. A lot of stuff from the High label: Al Green, Syl Johnson, Ann Peebles, Willie Mitchell, O.V. Wright, Let's Straighten It Out, which is just a classic. That's episode 1. Episode 2, a lot of the same artists on all 3 of these. There's more Al Green, more Ann Peebles. Throw in stuff like the Detroit Emeralds, Southside Movements, Sweet Inspirations, George Jackson, Jackson 5 make an appearance. Yeah, maybe tomorrow. Eddie Holman is episode 2, and these are all doubles. This is on the French Because label, and I think these were put out in the early 2000s, I believe, on another label, another French label that I can't think of the name. But yeah, I love that cover shot. I can't remember if I said they're all doubles, so you have 12 sides of great R&B music. I haven't fully checked the information. From what I can figure out, I'm gonna guess these are all from like 1968 to maybe 78, 79. Supreme is making an appearance on this one. David Porter, Rufus Thomas, Dionne Warwick, You're Gonna Need Me. I realized I have a couple of Dionne Warwicks, and I realized after listening to their song on here, I'm like, yeah, I kind of overlooked Dionne Warwick. I need to break those albums out. But yeah, I was listening to these this last weekend, just all of them in a row, and then went back and played certain sides over again. Just fantastic music. A lot of them have arrangements, string and horn arrangements. I mean, it's, the 70s soul stuff with the killer grooves and the For me, I'm a little picky about arrangements. Sometimes they sound a little too sappy for me, but most of the arrangements are just spot on, equal parts of the rest of the song with the rhythm section, the vocals, whatever lead. There's no like syrupiness to them. They're part of what drives these songs. And, there's the track list on the episode 1. And kind of small here, but there's the track list there on episode 2. And episode 3, yeah, I'm loving these. This is the track list. Bob James, Nautilus, makes an appearance on this. Yeah, the first one. Yeah, just some great songs. And the way they all flow from song to song to song, it was perfectly compiled by someone called Uncle O. Who's, I don't know who that is. All of these are compiled by Uncle O. So yeah, Shaolin Soul. I'm wondering if John, 6-inch pianist, has any of these. He might have a lot of the 45s. I think the digital gramophone would get into these. Yeah. Awesome stuff. So yeah, that's what I'm excited about here, are these compilations. And after I ordered these, I found out there's a volume 4. I thought these were all of them, but apparently there's a 4th volume, which I need to look into. And a lot of these I'm going to show are orders, really Dusty Groove orders. I've made a number of them over the last so many months. These next two are volume 1 and volume 2 in a series of an Iranian pianist named Mortaza Mahjoubi. And these are mainly solo piano. There's some percussion. There's some interspersed with some poetry in between some tracks. This is outstanding stuff. I'm not, that technically knowledgeable on music, the technicalities of it, but according to these notes, they're very brief notes and they're the same on both volumes. He tuned the piano a certain way that it made it sound like he's playing like a plucked string instrument, and you can hear that. Sometimes it sounds like there's strings being plucked, and I was wondering, is he inside the piano playing the strings? But according to these notes, it was on the way he tuned it. And he played regularly on Iranian radio out of Tehran for about 10 years, from 1956 to 65. 65 is when he died. And I guess they continued to broadcast his stuff on air until the revolution in 79. And these, really interesting, a lot of introspective tunes, somewhat whimsical, some of them. And these are reissued on the Death Is Not the End label. And another one, this is Nashiness. Out of Afghanistan. He's a singer, a poet, and his stuff was released originally on the Iranian label Royal, which I'm sure are extremely difficult to find. He wrote his own material and is backed by minimal instruments, some strings, percussion. There might be some flute, some kind of wooden flute in a couple of these songs. And according to the notes in here, Nashiness is the name he started to use because when he started singing again radio broadcasts in Afghanistan and Eastern Iran. His father wouldn't have approved of him singing, so he kept changing his name every so often until he finally decided on Nashines, which means unknown. So that's how it translates. So he was the unknown singer, so his father wouldn't find out it's him. And these were broadcast, I think the same thing, he started on the radio around 1950 and played all the way through to, was living in Afghanistan until the early 90s when he had to leave and ended up in the UK. And the two people who are part of putting this album out, it says they've been on the lookout for any records of his for like a couple decades. And they got a tip about an album, and they found an album, and they did more research, and they didn't realize he's still alive and living in London. So they interviewed him for the notes on this, and this is on Strut. Yeah, great yearning stuff. It's Persian influence with kind of Middle Eastern, like Arabic music. He sings in, I understand Farsi. He sings in the Dars, Persian language. It's hit and miss with me, but it doesn't matter. That for me, that I don't understand, because just the longing and the yearning in his voice, and you can, just by the titles, Your Sorrow Is Killing Me, I'm Happy Alone, Life Is a Heavy Burden. That's the name of the record, Life Is a Heavy Burden. The Sorrow of Your Love Destroyed Me. The Author of Destiny. Yeah, great stuff. There he is, I think probably in his 30s. Looks like an accountant. Yeah, Nashines. And this I didn't know about this until Alex played it on a live stream. This is a new Lloyd Miller release. And like I said, I didn't realize he had come out with anything. At the Ends of the World with Ian Camp and Adam Michael Terry. This is recorded in Utah. Is it Salt Lake City? Yeah, 2019 in Lloyd's basement in Salt Lake City. Lloyd Miller's come on the scene for a while. He actually studied in Iran, lived there for a while, learned the language, became accustomed to the culture. And I have the Now Again release with the red cover, bright red cover with him on it. Those are older recordings. This just shines. This is, I think if you didn't know better, you would think this is one of the greatest spiritual jazz records ever. Yeah. All different kinds of instruments, bass, flute, percussion, ney. I don't know if you can see the pictures there. Yeah, Lloyd Miller. Thanks to Alex. I don't think I still wouldn't know about it. An unearthed recording came out, I think, towards the end of last year. Tapscott and Winds, Horace Tapscott. This is never released until now. 1983 recording. This is a trio with Kaffe Roberts on saxophone, Aubrey Hart on flute, and Tapscott piano. And it's two numbers, one on each side. One of them is Spellbound, the Clifford Jordan song, and the other is Tapscott's own Golden Pearl. And Golden Pearl is it's one of those songs. It's just I've listened to it a number of times. Just sit here, and to me, you have the three instruments, flute, saxophone, piano, but I get so caught up in it. also just sounds like one thing, one sound. You know, I don't necessarily distinguish instruments, but it's just something that just kind of a slight whirlwind in my mind and takes me away, and all I'm hearing is this precious sound of this music. Yeah, excellent stuff. And I guess Nimbus is still a label that's ongoing because I don't see any other company associated with this. Yeah, excellent quality too on this reissue. Another one I got from Dusty Groove. I don't normally buy things like this, especially an album I already have. I have the Arista Freedom from the 70s of this, but they had this at such a slashed price. This Doggone AD, Julius Hemphill, like almost 3/4 off. And I wouldn't have even thought about spending the money on the regular price. But this is a new version, double album, and it has one extra track, The Hard Blues from Kuhn Bidness, the other Arista Freedom album of his. And the sound's superior. I mean, people may know this. I mean, people do know this album, and it's considered just a classic in the spiritual jazz realm, if you could say. Yeah. Great quality too. And I didn't realize until I saw Derek's video a couple days ago, Derek Higgins. He was talking about Abdul Wadud died last week. I hadn't heard. And Abdul Wadud, the cellist, is on here. Yeah. Great stuff. What do we got here? There's another reissue, Warda Al Jazeera, the Algerian Rose. This is one of those albums I don't know how to describe. She's a singer of Lebanese and Algerian descent, born in Paris and rose to fame in Egypt. And this is an early 70s album originally. Her husband at the time was the arranger and composer of this music. And man, this is very hypnotic. If you know Kalsoum, I think people would dig this. I mean, look at that face. Warda. She sings in Arabic. A lot of these songs, there's I think 6 songs on here. And they start with a long kind of musical introduction. And it sets the scene, and then her vocals come in. And again, hypnotizing. That's all I can say. And this is an album, I wouldn't be surprised if Christian has an original of this, has other original albums of hers. I'm never going to come across them here, I don't think. Another one I just kind of went for, The Breath of the Masters. That's the name of the duo. The album is called Smile. Nice cover there. There they are. Again, I didn't know anything about this. I just went with the cover and the description. Alto sax is Harun Ghulam Barabas, and bassoon is Aladdin Aldernest. 4 long tracks, improvising, kind of interweaving ideas. Gets a little out, but not too far out. Yeah, great. I think great purchase there. Another one that was kind of discounted. And this one I didn't know anything about. I guess people in the know her. Joanna Brauch. This is a Numero release, kind of ambient, maybe you could say new age. But I guess this is the first time it's been put out on LP. It's a cassette only, originally, 1980. She's a composer, pianist, plays synth, and Side 1 is The Space Between, piano by Bill Moraldo. Side 2 is 3 tracks. Brauch plays everything, electric piano, Moog, Saran, bells. Lovely stuff here. I know Alex knows about this, and maybe Carm knows about this, and Chris, I'm sure. Then I'll wrap it up here with a few records. I think I've said this before. Last year I got a bunch of credit from Amoeba Hollywood, and I didn't find anything there, so I sent the credit to my great friend Jim to get me some albums in San Francisco. And so this time, I mean, the record stores around here, Southern California, if I can be honest, there's really been a disappointment to me. Everything from Amoeba to Rhino, Glass House, just Amoeba. I've been there, the new location, about 6 times, I think, and yeah, I'm just not comfortable in there. And I always said, if I'm not comfortable in the record store, then I don't see the point in going. This new location, it feels like everything is on top of me, and especially where I want to look for records, the sections that I look through, the jazz, the classical, the world, experimental, just all those, anything that's not popular rock or anything, they're all kind of crammed in a corner. There's not much space to be able to go through things, and I'm uncomfortable. And Rhino recently moved to a different location. I don't like the location where it's actually at geographically, and going inside, I'm not comfortable in there. That somehow the way, I don't know if it's me getting old, I don't know what it is, and Glass House isn't the same because they don't have the same guy running it anymore, so the selection is not the same at all, at least the last couple times I went. So I sent Jim just some cash and said, yeah, when you go to Amoeba, please get me some records. So that's what he ended up doing. And the first one I'll show is, he got me about 8 records, I think. I'm going to show 4 of them. The one I'm most excited about is this Jothan Callens, Winds of Change. This is originally a private press, I think his own Triumph Records. Man, he played with Sun Ra. I don't know if this is 1975. I know he played with Sun Ra well after this. I don't know if he played with Sun Ra before this. He also played with, I think, Stevie Wonder and Olatunji. And this is fantastic. Fantastic. This is a reissue on Mad About Records. First thing I've gotten on that label. And you got Joe Bonner on piano. I mean, there you go. Norman Connors drums, Cecil McBee bass, and Roland Duval conga. And this just, right out of the gate, just floats like a butterfly. And yeah, 4 songs. And the hype on the Obi here says, rare spiritual jazz funk masterpiece, reissued for the first time ever worldwide with the original 4-page book. Spiritual jazz funk masterpiece. I don't know that I'd use the word funk on this because it's not really, I wouldn't consider it funky, but it's damn good. Highly recommended. I mean, originals are probably out of this world prices. And Jim is kind of my modern, hard, psych kind of aficionado. He follows this stuff more than me, and we were talking. And I was saying how, yeah, I like that stuff, but I prefer instrumentals. Like, I don't care about the vocals on that stuff. So he got me a couple of albums that he has. This Eternal Tapestry. The name is Beyond the Fourth Door. Yeah, hard guitar-driven instrumental rock. I think they're out of Portland, Oregon. And Another one, I'm not sure where these guys are from. Carlton Melton, live in Europe, 2012. This is a double. Um, yeah, it doesn't even say where it's recorded, it's just Europe. But yeah, more just heavy. There's two records. One is a little more mellow, kind of raw but mellower, and the second one just it starts really going off. Second record, and Carlton Melton is the name of the band, not a person, even though it sounds like a name of an R&B singer. Uh, there's the back. This is a non-gatefold double. Yeah, really enjoyed those. And he also picked this up for me, Human Arts Ensemble Live Volume 2 on the Circle label. Charles Bobo Shaw, Joseph Bowie, and James Emery on guitar. James Emery really stands out on this. Excellent playing. Yeah, Human Arts Ensemble, there again have a couple of albums that came out on the Arista Freedom. This is on Circle Records. There they are. Though James Emery is not pictured here. Yeah, great stuff. Nice used find. I love when Jim does this, and I've done the same thing. I'll get stuff, and he'll get stuff that neither one of us has. It's like we take a chance for each other. So that's it. Some of the stuff I've gotten this year. It's not everything, but things that are of most interest, I think. That was Les Deux Amis, Play Focus Classics. Again, yeah, I rarely just explicitly recommend albums when I show things. I just show them and say, hey, it's up to you. But really, I think people need to look into these Shaolin Soul compilations. Yeah, and now there's a volume 4. I'm going to have to look into getting that. Excellent stuff. All right. Thanks a lot. Everyone have a good one. See you. Whatever happens next time, however I come back or not. All right. Take it easy.